Welcome back to the Tuesday Tea, everyone. My name's Maddie.
I'm Carly.
And today we have a doozy for you. As you could tell from the title, both I have big news and Carly has big news to share with you all. And yeah, why don't you go first?
My doozy is that I'm leaving my dog. When you hear this by now, I will have already left my dog and been away from my dog for 9-10 days.
Why are you away from your dog, would you say? Because that's the exciting part.
That is the exciting part. I will be on tour.
Yeah, you will.
Which is very exciting. I cannot wait. If you guys listened to last week's episode, it's going to be my little version of Semester at Sea.
Yeah.
So just the summer camp vibe I was going for, except we're going to be in bunk beds on a bus together with a band and my boss. And it's going to be so wonderful and fun.
Are you allowed to say who you're with?
Yeah, I'm with Ashe.
So Carly is an assistant for the singer, Ashe. If you guys don't know, she's very humble and modest about it. So I'm going to brag about her because it's so cool. Ashe is so good. You guys should look her up. She has so many amazing songs. She has a song with Niall Horan. I mean, I'm sure you'll know at least one of her songs.
Yeah. Her most famous ones are Moral of the Story, which is what got her famous with Niall Horan. And then Till Forever Falls Apart with Phineas is a really popular one too.
Yeah. So she's amazing. So Carly's her assistant. So she's going on tour with her. And who is she opening for?
She's opening for Kelsey Ballerini,
which
is
cool.
So exciting. So I'll have to bring you along. Hopefully I've been bringing you along already. I don't know. We'll see. But
I'm telling you, you need to start a TikTok series on like what it's like to be on tour. That would be so interesting.
Should that be the start of my TikTok journey?
I think it should.
I just don't know how to make a TikTok. I need to learn. You need to give me a run through before I leave.
It's really not hard. You know how to edit our YouTube videos.
I know,
it's very
but
similar.
Yeah, we'll see. So yeah, maybe I'll start making TikToks and bring you guys along. We'll see. But I'm so excited. I've never been on tour before. It's going to be an arena tour, which is going to be just absolutely massive. And yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be really fast paced, but a great culture. It's just going to be fun. Like, it's going to be like a girly group. Like, Ashe is very fun and girly and spunky and the best boss ever. And Kelsey seems great. She has an awesome team. I know some people on her team. So, yeah, I'm really excited. I'm trying to figure out how I can get like a workout in.
Yeah.
Because we can't bring the sauna with, which you guys, the sauna has been going great. I did misspeak. Remember when I asked you what I wear in the sauna because I'm drenched? Okay, that was the steam room. So I mixed the two up.
Yeah.
So when I'm in the steam room, I'm like literally dripping. Sauna has been something I've been doing almost every day, 15 minutes at least, and it's just so wonderful after my workout. So I can't bring that with, which is fine, but we're gonna have to like shower at the venue. Like, there's no shower on the bus.
Yeah.
So
you're literally gonna sleep on a bus, like in bunks.
Bus.
They share one bathroom. They sleep while the bus is moving.
No pooping on the bus.
No pooping on the bus.
You have to stop the bus if you have to poop.
My IBS could never. I would not survive.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't. Yeah.
What if you have to go and you're in the middle of nowhere, though? What if you're like in the desert?
You have to find the closest gas station. Well, or maybe the sand.
And you just have to tell everyone?
Yeah. Well, maybe everyone's sleeping, but.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Tragic. You're going to get real close with that bus driver. You're like, listen, I've got to go.
Well, it's interesting because when I travel, I don't go to the bathroom. It is what it is. Like, you know that.
You get the travel poops.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they just don't, I don't know where my food goes, but it's not going out. Mm-hmm. So, we'll see. I'm so excited. I have no idea what the days are going to hold. Ashe was saying we could run the arena steps for a stairs workout, which I think would be awesome because I do the Stairmaster almost every day. So I got to figure out some routine, like go on walks, like go explore the city a little bit. Obviously, I'm there to support her, but she's just the best, and
I wonder,
just so excited.
Could you try ClassPass, the app?
Oh my gosh, that's a really good idea.
Because you could go to a bunch of different studios at different locations. Like, you should just do like a 30-day trial or something.
The only thing is, can you basically book those up until the class start? Because, like, you know, what if there's like bus failure problems or I have to go get her a coffee? Like, my schedule is the least important. So I wonder like how.
Yeah, I mean, it just works like any other class booking. You could book it whenever.
Oh, okay. It's not like 24 hours before you have to book it?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, you
that's
should
a good
try
idea.
that.
I'll look that up.
So what cities are you going to?
Ooh, that's a good question. We're doing like the Connecticut, DC, Newark area first, going down to the Carolinas, then to Florida, and then to Texas, and then back.
That's so exciting.
It's so exciting. So I'll be gone, I think, a total of, 18, 19 days?
Yeah.
And then we have another tour coming up, but that'll be later. That'll be another place.
That one is so cool. Are you going to wait to talk about that one?
I know.
I think you should wait.
Okay. We'll leave you guys hanging. That one's very exciting. I'll also be gone for my dog that time, unfortunately. But
her dog is staying with me.
Yes.
He's going to be great.
It's going to be great. I'll get over my anxiety. It's fine. He's safe. He's happy. I got to figure out how to pack for Connecticut, New Jersey, DC, Carolinas, Florida, and Texas. Like, how in the world am I supposed to pack for that? I have no idea.
Yeah, I have no advice for you.
No, seriously. And then even just thinking about, like, all of our showering is done at every arena, like, in their showers. Thinking logistically, like, how am I even, like, carrying my shower stuff? Am I in a robe?
True.
Like, I don't want to carry a dorm tote, you know, like.
You should probably get one, like a little shower caddy.
Yeah. Yeah. How nerdy.
I know.
Shower shoes. Like, I don't even know the situation.
I would ask our friend Megan, she's been on tour a lot, ask her that, like, logistically, how are we transporting our soap? How are you going to blow dry your hair?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh, I would be so stressed.
No, it's going to be so interesting. Or even, like, how am I going to remove my makeup at night?
Yeah.
Like, once the show is done, do I go into the arena bathroom, wash my face, and then walk to the bus?
Well, there is a sink on the bus you could use.
But, like, if we're not connected to water?
I think you should be connected to water when you're on the bus, right? Because you could go pee on the bus.
I don't know.
There might be like a tank underneath. I don't know. That's a great question.
I bought these like I went down this rabbit hole of basically like cleansing pads for the face, and they have like vitamin C and like aloe vera. So that'll be nice. I'll probably use those after I wash my face. But it's just going to be a big learning curve. I'm going to be at summer camp. It's going to be so fun. I can't wait for just like her shows every night.
Yeah, it is going to feel like summer camp. You're right. Oh, that's going to be so fun though. You're going to make friends. You're going to stay up late. Yeah. I don't know what on earth I'm going to do without you here. I'm going to be so sad.
Go out and make some friends for us.
Yeah, I'll try. I will try. But yeah, that's why in the previous episode we mentioned that we've been like filming ahead. We've been batching. So that's why we haven't been covering like current pop culture topics as much, just because we're filming ahead. And all we've wanted to do is talk about the updates with Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, but we feel like they're going to be irrelevant by the time that these episodes
they're going to be like, Ryan Reynolds is coming up now as the hot topic, and they're like, that was literally 4 weeks ago.
Exactly. Yeah. So once we get to March, we'll be more relevant then.
Yeah, we promise.
We've been batching just because she's going to be literally on tour. So if you guys are going to Kelsey Ballerini's shows for the month of February,
I'll be there.
Look for Carly.
Oh my gosh, she will be there.
And let Carly know what you think about Ashe.
Oh my gosh, yes.
She's so good.
She's so good. I saw her set list yesterday, and she's got some real good ones and some bangers. Unfortunately, my favorite one isn't being played, but
which one?
Always.
Oh,
every time I hit the note at the end, I text her that I hit it or I didn't hit it.
Is she playing Save Yourself?
She is.
Oh, that's my favorite song by her.
Yeah. That's a good one. My brother and Selena, shout out, are coming to the Washington, D.C. one.
Yeah.
So they'll be able to experience the concert with me, which is so exciting.
That's so fun.
I know, just like a little feeling of home, which will be nice.
Yeah. I'm actually seeing Kelsey Ballerini tonight.
Yeah, you
in
are.
Nashville.
Yeah, you are.
So I'm excited for that. I wish Ashe was opening for her, but she's not. But it'll still be really good.
Yeah. You get to meet her.
Yeah, I think we're going to do a little meet and greet. I'm going with Covergirl, which is so exciting because, I mean, I've used Covergirl products forever. I feel like everybody has. That was like my first makeup product, you know.
Are they making a comeback?
I think so. I love their lip stains. This is not sponsored, by the way. I wish it was.
Unfortunately, this is not.
Their lip stains I wear every single day, and I have for probably like 2 or 3 months because they last so much longer than lip liner, and I feel like it looks a little bit more natural than lip liner. So that's what I have on right now is their lip stain, and then I have lip gloss on top.
Covergirl, I mean, take a look. Take a peek.
Take a gander.
You guys, come on.
Sponsor us, please. Please.
No, they do look really good. I mean, your lips always look good, but they look great. So the color lasts longer.
Yeah, the color itself, because it like stains your lip versus like a liner that can like rub off.
Do you put it on like a lipstick?
Like a liner.
Oh, you put it on? I just
line my lip. It's like a little marker. I use it as a liner. I don't fill it in all the way. But I mean, you could do whatever you want.
And then you put a gloss on top.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, your lips lip. I've always tried to get like Maddie's secrets for lips, and they can never get there.
I feel like I always have to have lipstick on though. Like I feel like I don't look like myself when I don't have it on.
Yeah, you do always have like a color, but it's always like a slight color that just looks very natural.
Yeah, I feel like the color of my lips, my natural color, just blends into my skin. Where like a lot of people have, like you have really pretty colored lips where you don't need anything. Yeah.
They're a different color than yours?
Yeah, yours are like more pink and darker than mine. I feel like mine are really light and they blend in with my skin. So I just feel like I always have to have something on or else I look deceased. So
that is not true.
I honestly want to try out lip blushing. I did it a long time ago and I liked it, but like I want to do it again.
How do they do that?
It's basically like a tattoo on your lip, which is kind of scary. It did hurt pretty bad. The worst part, though, was afterwards, for like 4 days, your lips are so dry and flaky, and you can't like rub it off, like rub the flakes off, and your lips are just so chapped and red, and they look like sunburnt, and they feel sunburnt. So the following days, you just look crazy. But like after that, they look really good, and they last for like years.
Wait, you're kidding?
No.
Do you pick the shade you want? Mm-hmm. How in the world did you pick that? That's such a big decision.
Well, at the time, I had like a color that I wore all the time. So I was like, can you do it similar to this color? I don't feel like she did the right color. I don't really recommend the lady that I went to. Okay. That's why I want to try it again. Because I feel like if I had it done well, I would really like it. But
it's like going to a nail salon and being like, I want that color, but it lasts for years.
But I mean, I wear lipstick all the time anyways, so it's like if I don't like the color, it doesn't really matter. For you, someone who doesn't wear lipstick a lot, it would be like a way bigger decision, I feel like.
I want to try this lip stain though.
Yeah, you should try it.
You know what I was thinking about getting done that I actually wanted to talk to you about? So I'm so happy we're here. Before tour is eyebrow tinting. Yeah. I wonder if I should go get them tinted. Yeah. How long does a tint last? It's a few weeks, right?
Yeah, on your skin, it'll only last for like a week. But on the eyebrow hairs, it'll last for probably like 3 weeks.
Oh, really? Will it be noticeable enough?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you think they can be like accurate to what I want, or is it usually just like a freaking block?
No, they like draw. I wouldn't do it yourself because that's when it turns out like a block. I would go get it done.
Okay. Do you have a place you recommend in Nashville?
I do. Yeah. Okay. Brow Darlin' is what it's called.
Is there a G at the end of that or no?
No, N apostrophe. Her name is Sophia and she's the best. I've been to multiple people in Nashville and no one does it like her.
Oh my gosh. Do you have her number?
Yeah, I do. She's a little bit more expensive than other places, but it's worth it.
For a tint?
It's worth it.
Is that what yours are right now? Are they tinted?
No, I don't normally tint mine because I feel like I don't like the dark eyebrow look on me. I don't know why.
I feel like you already have dark eyebrows.
Yeah, I don't need them any darker.
Oh, I see.
So I just have her laminate them.
Got it.
Yeah. But I have gotten them tinted by her. And she does a really good job.
I think that would be so great for me.
Yeah, I think she does the best job with like shaping them too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Plus, if she's an expert, you know how weird I am with my shapes. I don't know. I'll never forget that one makeup artist telling me how different my eyebrows need to be to look better. And I was like, man, that really will stick with me.
Scarred you for life.
No, literally. And I'm like, okay. You know whose eyebrows I really want are Kendall Jenner's. Like, but to be fair, I feel like that's actually not true. There's a few other people's eyebrows I've looked at and I'm like, I want those, but it's always just dependent on the face and the eyes. Like, yeah. I love like the bushy look too that are like just so full and beautiful, but they don't always look good on other people's face.
No,
like,
they don't. It's so hard.
God knows just what you need at any given moment.
Exactly. But he could have given us naturally darker eyebrows if he wanted to.
So
we
true.
Wouldn't
or
have
darker
to be
lips.
Getting tints. Yeah.
So true. I wouldn't have to be spending my hard-earned money on tinting my eyebrows.
Not to say anything against the Lord.
Yeah.
But
I guess he knows what he's doing. Anywho, so we're going on tour and I'm having to leave my friend and my dog. And hey, in other news, when I get home, I move into my new house that I bought.
Yes, literally the day that she gets back,
you guys,
she's moving into her new house. So lots of very exciting things to talk about once you get back. I can't wait to debrief tour.
Oh my gosh.
And I can't wait to talk about moving into your house.
Oh my goodness.
So exciting.
I know. I'll have to bring people along for the design journey of the house. I think that'll be really fun.
Yeah. See, you could start your TikTok journey.
Oh dear.
With tour and then move it to decorating your house.
Okay.
You got it.
Scary.
You could do it.
I'm scared. I feel like that's anybody that like considers ever making content, you just have to get through like the I'm scared phase.
Yeah, and you were scared to do a podcast, and now look at you now.
Still scared. Very, very much still scared. All right, so that's my news. I'm going to miss you.
I'm going to miss you. I'm going to be so sad.
Well, we can FaceTime every day, right often.
Yeah. Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
We'll plan our Mallorca trip. That's what we can do.
Yeah. So I have some news. Yeah. I don't know why I'm so nervous to talk about this. Pickleball Boy and I have broken up, as you could probably guess from the title of this episode. A lot of you have been DMing me on Instagram asking, and I'm sorry if I ignored you. Anyone who asked, I just ignored it. And I'm also sorry to those who were waiting for a reveal of him, because you're never going to get one. If I were to have done a reveal, it would have been if we got engaged, but you're just going to have to settle with this podcast for now. But it honestly feels weird talking about it, because I feel like I kept our relationship really private from social media, which is something I'd never really done before since like entering the social media world. So I think it just feels weird like talking about it and telling you guys about it, but I guess we're just going to dive into it now. Yeah, I'll tell you guys all that you want to know, I'm sure. But before I get into it, I did want to note, like, he is an amazing guy. There's no animosity towards him. Like, there's nothing but love for him. And it's not like he cheated on me or did anything crazy. Like, we're not anti-Pickleball Boy here. Mm-hmm. So if that was the story that you were wanting, then I'm sorry. It's not going to be that crazy. But I am just going to dive into, like, what it was like, why we broke up, and all that jazz. So I guess I'll just start with a rundown of our relationships.
Yeah, maybe just start from the beginning about how you guys met.
Yeah. So we dated for about 2.5 years. We met because a girl that I know had gone on a date with him. She didn't like him, but like she showed me him, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's so cute. And she's like, I didn't really like him. And then they ended up not working out. So then me and him followed each other on Instagram afterwards, and he DM'd me. And then yeah, I mean, it was a very slow burn. Like, we started DMing in March, and we went on our first date in April because I was out of town a lot. And then we didn't officially start dating as boyfriend, girlfriend until October. So from like April to October, he was the only person I was dating. I remember in May, I asked him, like, hey, what's going on? Like, are we dating other people? Like, what's the vibe here? And he was like, no, I'm not dating anyone else. But, like, honestly, I think even the start of our relationship, like, had a negative effect on me for the rest of our relationship, because I think it made me really insecure, just the fact that he was so slow to commit to me. And, like, I just never experienced that before, where someone wasn't like, okay, I want to, like, commit to this, like, let's start dating, like, I'm so interested in you. It kind of felt like 1 foot in, 1 foot out kind of vibe. Like, we're dating, but we're not going to, like, fully commit to each other.
Did it feel like he was wanting to keep his options open? Was that why?
No, because he wasn't going on other dates with anybody. It felt like a commitment issue. Like, for some reason, he just, like, wasn't ready to, like, call me his girlfriend, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so we started dating in October, and we dated for a little over a year.
That was October of 2022.
Okay. Yeah, so we started dating in October 2022. And there were a lot of things that happened at the beginning of our relationship. I don't really want to get into specifics, but our relationship, like, faced a lot of hurdles, I would say, at the beginning. And just some things happened that made me feel justified in that feeling of the fact that he wasn't really committed to me. Like, he had 1 foot in, 1 foot out. He was maybe keeping an eye elsewhere, like, just kind of a wandering eye a little bit. And he never cheated on me or anything, but I just knew that he wasn't, like, fully committed to me. It just felt like he wasn't all in on it. So all of that led to a breakup in the summer of 2023. I just could tell that he wasn't fully committed to it. And that breakup was like, we had a really big argument about something that had happened, something he had done. And I was like, I deserve better than this. Basically, we broke up and it was really, really hard because I was really angry and I felt like he didn't understand why I was so angry. So that was just like a really hard time. And then he ended up coming back around like a couple weeks later. He just kind of like realized his faults and realized that I was right in thinking that like he wasn't fully committed and wanted to fully commit to me and make those changes and work on those issues and make me feel chosen and all that stuff. So we got back together and then those like tangible issues really improved over time after that breakup, I would say. He definitely like made me feel more chosen and I could tell that he was like committed to it. And after that, like our relationship was really good. I mean, we still had issues, like we had a lot of communication issues and little things like that. Like we would bicker and stuff like that. But overall, we had a relationship where we were very comfortable with each other. We loved each other a lot. Like we were really happy and it was just fun doing life with him. But it got to the point where people started asking about marriage a lot, which obviously, you know, you've been with someone for like a year and a half. At our age, you're like, okay, are you going to get married? And marriage wasn't really something that we talked about a ton together. We would talk about it here and there, but he was never the one to bring it up. Like if anyone brought it up, it was me or someone else asking us. Like his nephew would always ask us, when are you guys going to get married? And it was always just kind of awkward because it's like, we don't really like talk about it. I don't know. It felt weird because I think both of us were in this place that we weren't sure that we wanted to marry the other person. So neither of us really wanted to like bring it up and dive into it, if that makes sense. Like we were both kind of putting off the conversation. And for me, the fact that he wasn't fully committed was making me not want to commit because I feel like I didn't feel safe to do that. And I also had other hesitations with our relationship and things that I wasn't sure that I wanted in a marriage and didn't really feel like super right. And for him, I didn't really know why he felt that way. Like I thought maybe it's just something with me because there was obviously something, you know, at the beginning of our relationship that caused him to not commit fully. There was that hesitation from him. So I just didn't really know what that was for a long time.
So you mentioned that after the first breakup, he did a really good job of making you feel chosen. Did it feel like you had kind of gotten over the hurdle of him having one foot in, one foot out, where you felt like this could go towards marriage?
Yeah, it definitely was a lot better. I wouldn't say it was like totally fixed. I feel like there were a lot of insecurities in me that were brought out by the things that had happened that led to the breakup. But he was definitely a lot more committed and he had said things to me that he like hadn't said before. Like, I want you to be my wife. I want you to have my kids and like all this stuff. And so he was definitely more committed. And I could tell that. So that's how we were able to move forward and improve the relationship and keep going. I wouldn't have tried it again if I didn't feel like he was serious in that.
Yeah. Did he ever like express doubts in marriage after you guys got back together?
Not really. Like I didn't know why he didn't want to get married because our relationship, like we were together all the time. Like we were so happy. We would do things together. It's like I just didn't understand what the problem was for him. And I mean, I understand what they were for me, so it feels kind of hypocritical saying that because our relationship wasn't perfect. Like, I had issues and things that I was a little wary about, but I feel like I would voice my concerns and he wouldn't really voice his concerns, so I just didn't know. But yeah, we were just really comfortable to the point where things just became really stagnant. And I'm like, where is this going? Like, I want to get married. I want to have kids. Why aren't we moving forward? We're just really comfortable right now, which is good. But like, we have to make some moves if we want to get married and we want to move forward. And so this past September, he came to me and basically told me that he's been thinking about Arizona a lot, which is where he's from. And he had always kind of thought that he wanted to move back to Arizona one day. And looking back now, I'm like, that is something we should have talked about when we first started dating. But I don't think I knew to ask those questions and to look for those things at the time. Now I definitely do. But I think that in his mind, Nashville was always a temporary thing for him. He wasn't planning on being here long term. It was just like a couple years and go back to Arizona. Where for me, Nashville's more of a permanent thing. Not to say that I have to be here forever.
Yeah.
But like that was my mindset. Like I bought a house here. We just started this podcast. Like I'm not going to leave. And so he came to me with all these anxieties that he's been having and just like kind of a pull to move back to Arizona, which I mean is very understandable. That's where all of his family is and everything. And he was telling me that he's kind of realized he wants to go to Arizona like sooner than later. And I didn't really know how to respond to that. And I took some time to really genuinely think about it and consider it. I took like a month to think about it. So in October, we had a big conversation about it where I was basically like, look, I'm open to moving to Arizona maybe one day. Like I'm not against going anywhere that I feel like God is calling me to go. I just don't feel like that's what I should be doing now. And also in my mind, it's like it was hard for me to consider picking up and moving my life across the country for someone that I don't even know is committed to me fully. Like there was always that hesitation of like, how can I justify doing that when I don't even feel like you're sure that you want to marry me?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But what we learned through all of this conversation was that his biggest hesitation with marrying me was the fact that he wanted to go to Arizona. And we had never talked about that. Like he was always really scared to bring it up because he didn't want us to break up over it basically. And he loved me and was really happy with where we were. He didn't want to mess it up. But it was always like this thought in the back of his head, like, well, I do want to go back to Arizona. I don't know if she does and all that stuff, which is really understandable. But I'm happy that he did bring it up because like it wouldn't have been fair for me to keep going on like that and not know that that was such a big hesitation for him. I basically told him like, I'm open to it one day. I just can't commit to that right now. And I don't know what you want to do with that information. Like take that, think about it. So he thought about it for a couple weeks and I just kept thinking about it because during this time we had a lot of trips planned. Like we went to New York for his work. Me and you went to Chattanooga. We went to California for my family. It was like very back-to-back trips. So we didn't have much time to like have a deep heart-to-heart conversation. So we just kind of like let ourselves continue to think about it. And then once we got back from all of those trips, mid-November, I was just really overwhelmed with like the thought of him resenting me for not going to Arizona. Like it just didn't feel fair for me to tell him like it's me or Arizona. Like I didn't want it to be an ultimatum type situation. And I knew that if he stayed for me, I knew there was a possibility that he could build resentment for being away from his family and everything. And I didn't want to feel that pressure. And I also felt a lot of guilt of like, okay, if I love this person so much, why don't I want to go to Arizona? Like why is that not enough for me to want to go, you know?
It does make sense, though. Like, why would I move across the country kind of as a leap of faith if he isn't even sure he wants to get married? Like, that makes total sense. Like, you'd uproot your whole life.
But I think in his mind, it was like...
That was why he wasn't.
If I was willing to move to Arizona, then he would be like, okay, this is perfect. But it's like, I haven't seen that.
Right.
So how can I just believe that that's how it would be?
If that was the narrative from the start, I think that would have been a way different conversation.
Yeah.
Did you ever consider trying long distance if he were to move?
Yeah, I mean, that was an option. I think it'd be really hard. I've never done long distance like that. I don't know. It's just hard at this point in our relationship because it's like, okay, then what? Like, you're going to be there. I'm here. We get engaged and then we're back at square one. Where do we live if we get married, you know?
That definitely doesn't address also the deeper issues of like staying together, but you're apart and you haven't gotten to the root of commitment and moving forward to the next step. And just like clarity and peace around those steps too. I think, it's interesting because I always wondered if he was afraid to bring up the real reason of his commitment to the next steps and in the fear that he would lose you if he did bring it up. So it's almost like the conversation was just prolonged of him being honest about wanting to go back to Arizona so he didn't lose you or have the chance of losing you.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. Yeah.
And that makes sense. Like,
we're human.
And you're his best friend and he's your best friend and you guys are in love, you know, a real adult relationship. And both of you have a goal of marriage and kids. So it's like, stay comfortable until the last possible second, which makes total sense.
Yeah. Basically, in mid-November, we had like a big conversation about it and I was like, I just don't see any other option but to break up. Like, I don't, if you're feeling like you want to go to Arizona and I'm not feeling like it's right, like, there's just no way that we can make that work. And I was like, I think you should go back to Arizona and see what it's like and see if that is where you want to be. It was just so hard because I feel like my mind, logically, it made sense. Mm-hmm. But like emotionally, I was on such a different page. Like I was in constant battle of the logical and emotional sides of my brain. And so it was just really hard to come to that conclusion and stick with it. But we ended up breaking up.
How do you feel like you got to that decision? Because Maddie definitely wanted to like keep it kind of to herself and in prayer too. I don't know if you want to share about like
something about me. Yeah. I feel like when it comes to relationships, I have a really hard time talking to friends about serious doubt like this because I just know once you say these things to a friend, you can't take them back. And I know that it impairs their perspective on that person. And so like I'll talk to my friends about fights and stuff like that. But when it's like something serious, like about me leaving the relationship, it's like I really try to make that decision for myself and with God and then make it and then tell my friends. So it's always kind of a shock, I feel like, to my friends. I'm like, so we broke up, and they're like, what happened? But I just like, I don't know. I don't want to tell my friends, oh, I think I'm going to break up with him. And then actually we don't break up and we get engaged and we get married. Mm-hmm. Because then they're going to be like, is that really what you want? You know?
Like out of protection for the relationship and for him too.
And I did that when I was engaged. Like I didn't tell anybody about it until we had broken up.
I wouldn't say it was like a shock either. It's more just like the wavering part. Mm-hmm. You're not debriefing. Like one day I'm like, I don't know, I really want to be with him and I'm struggling with this. And then the next day is like, I don't know, I feel kind of peace today about not being together. I feel like that's where you kind of don't include people in it. And I think that that can also be wise because depending on the personality of the person you're opening up to, you're opening yourself up to being poured in when you may not need to be poured in at that moment, depending on how you're feeling.
Yeah.
And that's also tough. It's hard to debrief yourself though too. And I think it's so cool that you were so disciplined in that. But how did you make that decision at the end of the day after like taking a few weeks to decide for yourself?
I think I was just really trying to focus on the logical side of things because it was like there was this big issue in front of us of Arizona and there's only so many ways we can solve it. Mm-hmm. And there was just no logical way to do it. And so like that part of the breakup, we'll get into other parts later, but like that part of it, I just forced myself to be logical and just ignored the emotional part.
Oh, that's so hard.
But it's so hard because you make the decision and you're like, okay, that was right. This makes sense. And then the next day, it's when all the pain comes in and it's nothing but the emotions. And then it's just horrible. Like it was just so hard, so much harder than I thought it would be. It was just like, I mean, breakups suck. I don't need to tell anybody that. Like everybody knows. Like it's just awful. So luckily my family had been planning to come out like that week anyways.
That's right.
So it was really nice having them here for that time. And then we had Thanksgiving and I was like starting to do better, but it was just such a hard time. Like the worst time to go through a breakup is in the holidays, literally right before Thanksgiving, right before Christmas. His 30th birthday was the second week of December, which is when we went to Vail. Now we can say that. We didn't want to say that back then because I obviously hadn't talked about the breakup. But the reason why we went to Vail was because it was, like I said, his 30th birthday weekend.
Scram!
So we scrammed, we got out of town because I knew he'd be doing something fun. And the thought of like him going out and like having his 30th celebration and me just being at home was no good. So Carly and Brittany so graciously planned a trip for us. Yeah. And we went to Vail and we had so much fun.
Little girls trip.
Yeah, a little girls trip. But this is when the plot twist happens, I would say.
Everyone strap in. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Yeah. So, right when I'm starting to feel a little bit better.
As it always happens.
They always do. He crawled.
They know just the time.
He crawled right back on in. Yeah. And, like, we had stopped sharing locations with each other. And, like, that really helped. Like, I was really like, okay, this is for real. Like, I'm going to separate myself. I'm not going to think about it. But then he came back around. He basically called me one day because at this point, I don't think I mentioned, he had gone back to Arizona basically the week that we broke up. He had booked a one-way ticket went back to be with his family, and he told me that he did that, so I knew he was there.
When was that? Around what time?
Mid-November.
Mid-November, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he was back there, and he called me saying, I'm coming to Nashville tonight. I want to see you. I want to talk to you. I have things I want to say to you. And I'm like, oh, gosh. And I panic, and I called my friend Heidi, who told me, YOLO, go for it. Let's hear what he has to say. And then I called Carly, who was like, no. She's like, absolutely not.
I was like, let the woman heal.
Yeah.
Also, like, he doesn't have to be here. He can get across what he wants to get across from the phone.
Yeah. He wanted to do a romantic gesture to show that he was...
I get it.
Yeah.
If I was trying to win you back, I would do the same thing. I'd walk. I'd start walking from Arizona. So that's tough. As someone that's asking for advice and you get polar opposite perspectives and both are confident, I would say me and Heidi both have a very... Like, we're not just, like, calm about our opinions. Mm-hmm. We're very, like, we strongly believe what we're saying.
Yeah.
That's tough for you as your headspace is in a state of shock and wonkiness. So to be able to think clearly as he's calling you and then you're calling two people in your life of what to do, that's really messy and that's really hard.
It was a lot, but it was also very grounding to have both perspectives because I feel like there was a part of me that agreed with both of you. Like, there was a part of me that was like, this sounds fun. And
right.
And like, I want to see him, of course. I want to hear, I want him to tell me he loves me. I want like all these things. Mm-hmm. But I also understand that like, that's going to put me in a very compromising position because it's like, I knew that he would be waiting for me to give him an answer before he would go back to Arizona or stay here. Like that, whatever he did was dependent on what I said. And I felt like that was just a lot of pressure on me.
That's a lot of pressure, yeah.
And so I ended up thinking about it. And then I asked him not to come. And he was literally on his way to the airport. So I felt really bad about that. But he was very understanding and didn't want to put any pressure on me. So we ended up talking on the phone. And he basically told me like just all the realizations that he'd had, like, that he knew he wanted to be with me, he knew he wanted to marry me. He didn't care about Arizona anymore. He was like, I've been here for the last month and I love it, but like, I love you more and I just don't, like, I want to be where you are. Arizona's like not even an issue for me anymore and I don't care about it. And then he also, when we had broken up, I mentioned that my hesitation was that he wasn't fully committed to me. But I also had a lot of hesitation surrounding certain, I don't know if it's traits or habits or just like things about him. There were a lot of things that I wasn't sure that I wanted in a husband and just hesitations that I had surrounding things like that. When we broke up, I didn't mention those to him because I didn't want to like kick him while he was down. Like we were already breaking up about Arizona. I didn't want to be like, oh, and I also think you can improve in X, Y, and Z. You know, I'm not going to like say those things. But in my heart, like I remembered all those hesitations, of course. And he literally addressed every single one without me ever mentioning it to him. He had a whole notebook with pages of like all these things that he wants to do better and things that he wants to change. And it literally just addressed every single concern that I had had. And I felt hesitant because like we had broken up in the past and like he had come back and said these things. And yes, changes were made. Obviously, we still had a lot of issues to work through and all this stuff. So I was really hesitant because I'm like, this has happened before. And you've come back and I just don't want to waste any more of my time, basically. And I was really hesitant to jump back in it. But like, it was hard because I didn't feel peace about anything. I didn't feel peace about moving forward and trying it again. But I also didn't feel peace in being like, no, sorry, bye.
Yeah.
And so we basically compromised by saying like, okay, we're going to take it really slow. We could talk. And then when you come back to Nashville, we can like, start casually dating and see how it goes because he was coming back to Nashville a little after New Year's. So that's what we did. We just kind of talked loosely while like over Christmas and everything. And then once he came back, we hung out and it was really nice. Like it was really good seeing him. I missed him a lot and I saw a lot of the changes that he made in himself. whether we got back together or not, like, he was going to be a lot better from this. I think he just realized a lot of things in himself that he wanted to change, not because of me, but for himself, which, like, is what matters, you know,
Yeah.
and for his relationship with God. And so I could see these changes in him, and it was really good. So it was really fun for, like, the first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but...
How did your heart feel during that time? Did you feel, like, a little guarded? Did you feel hesitant? Or did you feel like you were properly giving it a chance when you were with him?
I think at first I was really hesitant and guarded, but then, like, the more I hung out with him, it's like, I know him so well, it's hard not to just fall back into, like, being myself with him.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that I loved about our relationship a lot, was I always felt like myself with him, where I feel like in other relationships I was kind of like turned down version of myself a little bit, like a shyer version. And with him, I just was always like myself, which I loved. But what started happening was that, like, we would hang out and I would feel like really great when we were together. I'd feel so happy and comfortable. And I just loved him. But then whenever I was apart from him, I would start to feel anxiety creep in, and I would feel really anxious about, like, what we're going to do moving forward. Should I commit to this again? Should I not? And it was really hard too, because I had a lot of people, friends and family, telling me, no, don't do it. And, like, 75% of people were telling me no, I would say, and 25% were saying, like, oh, I'd give it another try. Whereas in his life, it was like 100% of people were telling him to try it again with me.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was just really hard, because I was, like, trying to consider all these different people's opinions. And it's like, people have these opinions for a reason, but they're also not in the relationship. So I have to take it with a grain of salt. But I was just trying to balance, like, all these outside opinions and also how I'm feeling and also what I feel like God is telling me to do. And, like,
it's no bueno. That's always just so hard to look through and sift through.
Yeah, it was just really, really tough. And so I think that the anxiety that I was feeling when I was apart from him, though, reminded me a lot of what I felt with my engagement. Like, it was the same thing. Like, whenever I was with him, I'd be really happy. And then when I was apart from him, I'm like, just like, what am I doing? Like, is this right? And I just, like, feel like that's not how it should be. I shouldn't be questioning whether I should be in the relationship whenever I'm not with them. Mm-hmm. You know, I should feel at peace about it. And it was just kind of getting overwhelming. And I knew that Pickleball Boy was coming to the point where he wanted to, like, fully recommit to this and have me recommit to it and know that we were on the same page. Because up to this point, it was kind of like, I know where he's at. We don't really know where I'm at, kind of. And I knew he wanted to have that conversation, and I could feel it coming. And it was just making me really nervous, and I didn't feel good about recommitting. And I also didn't want to keep hanging out with him if I'm not sure. Like, he deserves someone who knows that they want him.
Which is so, like, opposite. It's literally flipped.
Yeah.
From
before. Yeah, exactly. And so one day he called me and he was like, how are you feeling? And I just, like, started crying, and I was like, I'm just feeling so anxious. And I just told him everything that I was feeling and why I was feeling that way and this things I was stressed about. And I ended up, like, just breaking up on the phone, which wasn't ideal. It sucks because it's like you have to go through it twice. Like, it's like 2 breakups in one. It's just horrible. So I recommend doing no contact if you break up with someone one time. Just never speak to them again, because it really just muddies the water.
I remember Mel Robbins had a post about your brain and the neurons firing and everything like that, and the no contact recommendation after a breakup. But it's so hard to do the no contact thing.
No, because it's so hard.
Those moments of comfort, or even just, like, just having that connection to them again, it's not good for your heart. It's not good for your brain, but you don't see that in the moment. You don't see it delaying or postponing your healing.
And it's so hard because some people do break up and then get back together and then get married.
And you don't know what your story is.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like so tough to work through with your mind and heart working sometimes in opposition.
Yeah.
It's really difficult.
Yeah, and I remember you sent me a video that really stuck with me.
Oh, no.
It was like some girl saying, if you really struggle with decisions, which is me, she's like, if you really struggle with decisions, stop worrying about making the right decision. Just make a decision and make it right.
Yeah.
Like, choose that it's right, because you can always think the grass is greener on the other side, which I struggle with a lot.
Yeah.
But you're never going to know. So you have to train your mind to tell yourself, no, this is the right decision. Like, you have to just choose, no, this is the right one. instead of wondering if the other one was right.
Yeah.
And so I thought about that a lot, and I was like, I just need to make a decision. And it's like, I knew that if I decided to move forward and recommit to this again, I would be feeling that anxiety because I was feeling that already. And so I knew it wouldn't just magically go away, but I didn't know what I would feel if I like ended it. And I wasn't planning on ending it that day. Like it wasn't something that I was thinking about. I was just being honest with what I was feeling. And that was like the action that made most sense, I guess. It was just like, I can't commit to you and you deserve to be committed to, and I'm just not there, and I don't know why. I don't feel peace about it. And I just prayed so much for peace. Like, just please, God, tell me like what you want me to do, show me. And I felt like I just was getting nothing. And
hello.
Yeah. But I will say, like, when we had broken up, my relationship with God, like, I felt really close to him, as you do when you're going through something hard and you just throw yourself into scripture. And I felt really, really close to God. And then when we started like dating again, I was still doing the same amount of scripture and reading and all these things. My routine was still the same, but I felt farther from God. And I didn't know if that was like a sign.
Chills.
And so
I wonder why.
Yeah, I don't know. But I'm like, hello.
Do you feel like that was maybe signifying you're stepping away from God's will?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
It's interesting.
It's definitely possible.
Especially if you're like still doing the same routine.
Yeah. And so I ended it, and I felt a lot of peace about it. Like, I wouldn't say, at first I was confused. I'm like, am I numb or is this peace? Like, I don't know what I'm feeling right now. But as the days went on, like I do feel like it was peace, and I feel like it's the peace I've been asking for. I just wasn't making the right decision, so I didn't feel it. And yeah, it's been really hard because it's definitely not what he wanted. And my biggest fear in all of this is that I would hurt him, because I don't want him to hurt. And I feel like I'm a very overly empathetic person, and I feel like I love really deeply. And I feel like that sounds like a pick-me girl thing to say, but like, I do feel like I really struggle with like giving up on someone or something. Like, I remember watching It Ends With Us, not to bring up the drama, but the scene at the end where she leaves him, I remember feeling so distraught because I'm like, I feel like I would stay. Like, I feel like I wouldn't want to give up on him, and I wouldn't want to leave him alone to struggle with his past hurt and trauma that caused him to be this way. Ugh. And I just feel like that's like my nature. And so it's really hard to decide to like give up on someone, and you know, everything that we've done and our future that we envisioned, and
all the work you've put in too.
So much. Like, this relationship has been the most work out of anyone that I've been in my whole life, which I think is a good thing and a bad thing. But
yeah,
I ended it, and I looked up, as soon as I did, I opened the Bible app and like went to like a breakup plan or whatever, just to read it, you know, just to see what, because I don't know which scripture would like specifically help me in this moment. So I was looking for something, and literally the first thing that it said in the devotional, I'm just going to read this verbatim. It says, 2 things can be true at once. You can feel heartbroken over what happened and be at peace with your decision. You can be relieved the relationship is over and be sad that it ended. You can grieve the future you envisioned and be hopeful for what's next.
So good.
Yeah, I just felt like that was so true, because it's like, the thought of having peace, it's like, okay, well, is this peace? Because I'm so devastated right now. But it's like, you can be heartbroken and feel at peace at the same time. Like, peace isn't like, oh, I'm so happy and grateful that this happened. No. It's like, it sucks, but you know deep in your soul that it was the right decision.
I feel like that's like the epitome of peace within the storm. Like, the storms will come, but you have peace knowing you're right where he's asked you to be, and you were obedient in that, and you listened, even though 90% of people might not do that because it's the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, when I called off my wedding, I remember asking someone, does pain signify I made the wrong decision? And like, anybody and their mother would say, absolutely not. Pain comes with those decisions, always. But when you're in it, you're kind of like, you're desperate for understanding of the pain, but also affirmation that it is possible for peace to be within the pain.
Yeah.
And it sucks to have to go through it, but like the peace is the only thing that's going to get you through it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like I've just been wrestling with the fact of like my life is so different than I thought it would look. And like in terms of relationships, like I've always been such a hopeless romantic. Like I was in high school thinking I'd be dating and getting married at like 22, having kids by 25.
Yeah.
Like I've always been a relationship person. And so I always thought I'd be married. And like I feel like I've been through so much, like with the passing of Dawson, like dating someone who passes away and then being engaged and like that ending. And then like when I started dating Pickleball Boy, I'm like, okay, hopefully this is it. But like, I'm honestly so grateful for everything that I've been through because I feel like not only has it made me who I am and like brought me so much closer to God than I've ever been in my entire life, but like I'm so clear on what I want now, like so crazy clear, where I think like even when I started dating Pickleball Boy, like I had the things that I wanted, like generic things, like I want them to be Christian, I want them to love family and be a good person or whatever, which those are all great things. But now I'm like, okay, I need no specifics. I'm
Blueprint.
like, I want someone who can communicate well. I want someone who makes life fun. And like, I'm just so clear to the point where I'm like, I'm not even going to entertain like the thought of someone who I don't feel like is God's person for me. And I'm just praying for such clarity. Like that is my biggest ask for my future is like, when I meet the person, I will know and I will be sure. Yeah. And I just believe for that. I just feel like I'll know. And I also feel like I'm at the point where I'm just like so content with who I am and my relationship with God that it's like, if it doesn't happen, I'll still be okay. Like I genuinely feel that. Last year, could I have said that? No. But I feel that now. And I feel like 2 books that have really helped me in this season of like singleness and navigating breakups and dating and all of that stuff. The first one.
Say it louder for the people in the back.
Which one do you want me to say first?
My man, Ben Stewart.
The first one is called Single, Dating, Engaged, Married by Ben Stewart. It is so good. I haven't even finished it yet, but the parts that I have read have impacted me for life. So it is Christian based. So it's all about like what's going to lead to a godly marriage and things like that. And like I said, I've always been a hopeless romantic. And reading the single section of this book, because there's a section for singleness and dating and whatever, I read the singleness section. It has made me genuinely okay with being alone and like not getting married. And that is a miracle.
That's
that
cool.
I feel that way. Like, cool. Honestly. And
Ben Stewart, man, he can do some things.
He's so, so, so good. And I've moved on to the dating portion now, and it's really good. It just gives you kind of like a guide of what to look for. And I do feel a little bit convicted right now because I'm like so specific on what I want. And he says specifically in his book, he's like, to have those expectations is just unrealistic because you're not considering people's lack and like shortcomings. You're only focused on like the good things of people. And that's just unrealistic because it's like,
but like, I do think there are certain things, and you're welcome to give an example that like you do inherently need or want somebody to want to be
absolutely
out of a relationship.
Yeah, I think it's just like you can look for all these things that you want, but you also need to be aware of the fact that
they're human.
Nobody's perfect. Yeah. People like, hello, look at me. I'm going to have tons of trauma and baggage to bring into the relationship.
Not true. But like you need to be reasonable. But I do think the things you're looking for are not unreasonable.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
Yeah. Do you want to give one of them? Like one of the things you really are looking for in the next relationship?
Well, the first thing is definitely just someone who is very serious about their relationship with God and who pursues God daily and like strives to love me the way that Jesus would love me. Like that's always been a priority that they're Christian, but like
really takes it seriously.
Yeah, like takes it seriously. Yeah. I think that is my number one thing.
Do you know the second one that I'm thinking?
What?
I just had an epiphany about this.
What?
So you know how we talk about Home Depot Carly?
Uh-huh.
You kind of have Home Depot Maddie in a different way. Taking initiative to like raise your hand and help for things around the house.
Yeah.
Like you really think it's attractive and sexy for a man to take initiative and be like, this is something I really want to do and join in on the fun and like join in on the project.
Yeah.
And invest in the relationship by doing the things that bring you joy.
Mm-hmm.
That's been really important to you.
Yeah. Is that like acts of service maybe? Or
yeah, I think so. But also quality time. Like that is important.
Yeah, I think I need all the ones because I'm also like, words of affirmation. I want you to tell me nice
Everyone
things.
has everything, like truly.
Yeah.
But that, like, I know you and that's really important. Like, if you follow Maddie for any amount of time on her Instagram or TikTok, like, she's doing home improvement things. They're always talking about, like, little projects she wants to do and brainstorm. And someone who listens and then takes action and gets the U-Haul or, like, loads up the brick, like, things like that.
Yeah,
like,
someone who's, like, excited to do these things with me. And like,
that's Home Depot Maddie in a different sense, but, like, truly.
Yeah.
Like, loves the things you love and is excited to partake in the things you are excited about.
Yeah.
I think that that's something that is going to be really important to you in the next relationship, too.
Yeah, I think so, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that book, 10 out of 10 recommend.
Amazing. And honestly, if you're not a Christian, too, maybe it would be beneficial as well.
Yeah.
What's your second book?
Attached by Amir Levine.
Oh, that is a world-class book.
Yeah. So it's all about this theory of attachment styles. So there's avoidant, anxious, or secure attachment styles. And it's basically like, how do you respond in relationships and to love and to arguments and all those things. And in the book, there's a quiz that you take so that you can decipher which attachment style you have. And you don't have to just be one. You could be a combination of two. And you also learn like why you're that way, what made you that way, because you could be born a certain way. You can become more of one certain style based on things that have happened to you, your upbringing, your parents, past relationships, all that kind of stuff.
Or the person you're currently with can bring out a different attachment style in you. Yeah.
And it is just so eye-opening. If you are single and dating, you have to read it. Like,
Agreed.
Carly, you need to read it again, I think. Because you haven't.
Carly, I fear you need to reread it. You went from secure to anxious.
No. But you haven't read it in a long time, right?
I haven't, no. I read it in like 2020, I think, or 2021.
Like, I just think it's really important to have on the forefront of your mind when you're looking for a partner.
And they say the formulas of what to look out for. Like, if you're anxious, the last person you want to be dating is an avoidant. Like, that can get really yucky.
Yeah, but for some reason, we want that.
That's what
We're
chase.
Drawn to avoidant people.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? Why are we drawn to what eventually is going to crash and burn?
That book is so good.
Yeah, I actually started reading it while I was with Pickleball Boy, and I had to stop because I was feeling really upset because I felt like we were not compatible attachment styles.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so I stopped, and then when we broke up, I started rereading it, and it is just really, really good. If you're dating, you have to read it.
Okay, got it.
And
that's a paperback highlight one.
It is. I listened to it on audio, though.
Oh,
it is kind of a dry audio listen, I would say, because it's a lot of science, a lot of stats and all this stuff. But I got a lot from it still. You just kind of have to focus. I think if you're someone that, like, doesn't really focus as much when they're listening to audiobooks, you should read a paperback. Or if you like to highlight, take notes and all that kind
reference.
Of stuff. Yeah.
I want to reference and be like, ooh, avoid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I definitely recommend those.
Good to know that those have helped a lot. And like just like the logic too, I feel like, of the healing journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I mean, obviously healing from relationships and breakups is not linear. I have days where I'm doing really well and days where I'm feeling really sad, but I feel like we made the right decision, and like I said, I'll always have love for him and I care about him. I want nothing but the best for him. And yeah, I'm just so excited for what God has for me in my life, and I'm just trying to focus on like the hope of what's ahead of me rather than the pain that's behind me. And I just think it's going to be good. And I'm so thankful that, I don't know, everything I've learned from all this, and just to be able to have been with him for the time that I did. Like, he's an amazing person. And yeah.
Your story is going to be such a testament. Not that that makes everything that's happened to you in your story justifiable, but I believe the way your life has happened and it being nonlinear is going to be such a testament to strength, perseverance, but also God's goodness and God's love. And I totally believe it's going to be the most beautiful story ever. And I definitely wholeheartedly believe that you're going to be with the man of your dreams and it's all going to make sense and it's going to be one of those things of this is why it didn't work out.
Yeah.
Like I fully believe that. But in the meantime, like you have peace that this is right where you're meant to be. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, your story is going to touch so many people and give so many people hope. And right now that's not helpful because it's like, okay, but I'm going through it and I don't have what I'm praying for and what I'm wishing for. It's going to come. I know it. And there's going to be the day where tomorrow you're going to meet your husband. That day will come. Where it's tomorrow.
That stresses me.
I know. But like one day it will be tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to meet him. I can't wait to freaking roast him. I can't wait to, like he's got to pass the Carly test. I've said this to you many times, and I apologize if it hasn't even been enough times, but your strength and your discernment is so encouraging. And why am I going to cry?
Don't cry, then I'll cry. I've held it together this whole episode.
Why am I crying?
Carly. I'm sorry. Oh.
Like, I've never, oh no.
It's happening.
It's happening.
I'm getting hives.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sweating.
Same. When we went to dinner last week, we were talking about Dawson's passing, and she was telling us about Dawson, and then right at the end of it, I just burst out in tears.
I know. Sweet Carly.
Sorry. I've never met anybody that's just been able to handle such a impossible situation, especially at this age. Like, I think it can be really tempting to continue a relationship that's objectively good and great and healthy. And like every relationship's going to have their stuff, and to discern this is where God wants me or this is where I'm meant to be is really hard to do. Mm-hmm. Because no matter what, you're going to have trials and you're going to have issues to work through. Like, that's just life. But discerning what's comfortable and right and what's comfortable and wrong is really hard. When the pressure of the world, pressure from friends, pressure from family, pressure from social media is coming in. And I don't think anybody could have handled it better the way you did. And it's not linear, and there's not a science, there's not a formula. But the way you did it was so focused on God, but also focused on logic. It's so unbelievably impressed with you. Like, you are just one of the wisest women I've been able to just like watch that from the sidelines. And even as a friend to you, like, I always think like, how could I have done better through that time or even now? And I just really look up to you and how you handled that. And it was just such a testament to like God's strength that he gave you. And that doesn't mean like there's moments of weakness, because obviously it's like really painful and really hard. But yeah, I just love you so much. And I would have obviously loved you and supported you no matter the decision you made. But I want you to know that from the sidelines, it's just like incredible to watch you work through something so hard and heal.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's literally the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. It is. It's so nice. It's honestly like, I would have been able to go through it without God. Like, I don't know. I've said this before. Like, I don't know how people handle and navigate heartbreak without knowing Jesus. It's just impossible to me. But he's been there. Definitely, like, I've had so many answered prayers, and just like I said, like, my relationship with God has just grown so much, and I'm just so thankful for that through this. And no, you've been great. You've literally been the best.
No,
I'm like, I'm sad. You're like, let's go to Vail. Plans an entire trip for me.
No, thank you for sharing everything. I know that it's really hard to be vulnerable publicly, and I trust this is going to affect people and people will feel seen and not alone in what they're going through. But we're all praying for you and thinking of you, and can't wait to see the reveal one day.
Yeah, one day you guys will get a reveal.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for opening up about the heartbreak and everything you've been going through these last few months. I know it's been really hard for you.
Yeah. Of course, couldn't leave our Tuesday tea family out of the loop. Had to loop you guys in eventually.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for listening to us just yap without any submissions for an hour. I hope you were not bored.
Yeah.
But
this is a good one. This is a needed update.
Yeah. I feel so relieved to finally like be honest about it. I honestly feel like with social media as my job, I feel like it made me really bad at my job or feel like I was doing bad at my job because I felt like I was hiding something so big in my life. And it like that made me not want to share more. Like I feel like I've been sharing a lot less these last few months. And that just doesn't feel like it kind of gives me anxiety to not be sharing, probably because it is my job. But it feels like such a weight off my chest to finally like be honest and just be transparent about what I've been going through. And yeah, I hope it resonates with some of you. I hope it gives you guys hope or gives you the strength to maybe make a decision you've been thinking about making, or at the very least, you guys can read one of these books and know what to look for with dating.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys for listening. So we'll be back next week with some more submissions. So stay tuned for those. And yeah, we love you guys. Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Bye.